Welcome back to the Okaloosa Today Show. I'm Kathy Newby, Public Information Officer for Okaloosa County, and my guest today is Erika Zambello, and we're very pleased to have you, Erika. Erika is the Marine Economic and Tourist Development Resource Coordinator. Mouthful.
Perfect, though. Thanks, Kathy.
And so tell us, what are the responsibilities of the coastal management staff? How many do they have?
It's me and my supervisor, Jim Trafilio, so It's the two of us.
Very important job that y'all do, protecting those natural resources that we have out there, and kind of looking out for those types of issues, and taking advantage of the grants and the things that you need to take advantage of. So, but we're going to get into all that. And how long have you been with the coastal management staff yourself?
I've been here since July, so
Okay.
I'm coming up onto 1 year, which is really exciting.
Well, very good. Well, welcome to the show, and welcome to Okaloosa County. Let's talk about the artificial reef program first.
Sure, absolutely. So it's one of the most fun things that I do as part of my job, and this is a really, really exciting time to do artificial reefs because we're getting a lot of grants coming from the BP oil settlement. So that's really exciting. And I just want to sort of take you through the 3 types of artificial reefs that we do.
Because I know that we get a lot donated to us. We've had a lot of materials donated to us.
We do.
I'm sure you're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about that first.
Okay.
So one of the really amazing community initiatives that we do are the Concrete to Reefs reefs. And we have been working really, really closely with Eglin Air Force Base. They have a ton of concrete that's sitting on their ranges or left over from construction projects. And normally they would have to pay somebody to break it all up and cart it to a landfill. But through a community partnership, we said, we'll take that concrete and we'll make it into something really cool, like an artificial reef. So the first Concrete to Reefs deployment that we did with Eglin was back in November, and it's actually right off of Okaloosa Island in 2 different spots. And so we took all of the concrete for that deployment. We got a contractor to move it. We have a grant from the Tourist Development Council as well as the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. So it really was a community effort.
Well, and I think our chairman, Commissioner Wines, was involved in that deployment, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
He there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was there. He was there for our press event. He gave a few words, which was great. And now we're ready for part 2 of the Concrete to Reefs project.
Very good.
So we have leftover concrete material from county projects. We also have some from Destin water users, and we're adding it to additional material from Eglin. And we're hoping it's going to be a recurring phenomenon, that we keep getting concrete donated from county sources, private sources, and Eglin, and we keep doing different reef projects with Concrete to Reefs.
Okay.
And they make awesome reefs, so that's really exciting.
That's good to know too. You know, that's something that, probably our viewers wouldn't know unless they were involved in that somehow.
Yeah,
so.
and all of the public reefs, the coordinates are on our website. So it's all public information. You can go to it at any time. And we have a lot of new reef projects coming up.
Okay.
So with a grant from NRDA, the Natural Resource Damage Assessment, and also from the Restore process, we're going to put in 8 snorkel reefs. So
Wonderful.
that is really exciting. And
So
they're going to be...
instead of just the fishing, we're going to have some actual snorkel.
Exactly.
That's exciting.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
And the fact that there are 8, they're at different public access points from Okaloosa Island all the way over to Destin, it means you can go from one to the other and really see the differences. So that will be a lot of fun. And then we're also putting in some fishing and diving reefs a little farther offshore. So if you like fishing, diving, or snorkeling, this is a great time to visit Okaloosa County or live here like me.
Wonderful. Now, will those be put on the website too as soon as those sites
Everything.
become available?
Yep.
Okay.
The day they come available,
Okay.
we put them online.
And is that on the county website?
It's
or
on the county-
the tourism website, or both, I hope?
It's on the county website
Yeah.
for now, and then once we put in all the reefs, we're hoping to do a big marketing initiative and a big communication initiative to really link it up into the Emerald Coast Reef Trail.
Perfect.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, and so that's 1. Was there a 2 and a 3? Did you say?
Those
Okay.
wrap together. So the second one I've already mentioned are the snorkel reefs.
Okay.
And those are basically used of piling and disc structures, so that's what they like, or those are like, and they're set up in the shape of a turtle or things like that really connect the snorkel reef with, iconic things in our county. So that's the second one. And then the fish havens that I already spoke of, those are going to be the third type. And those are made of different structures. For example, the pyramid-like tetrahedrons, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we had some pictures of those
Absolutely.
to share. So very good, very good. Okay, well, I know that the Emerald Coast is a breeding ground for turtles where, if you're lucky, you've been out there in the Gulf and gotten to see some of those swimming around. But what species, let's talk about the different species that we have here and the protections we have in place, Erika.
Absolutely. So normally you see turtles, offshore. You can either see them from the fishing piers or you can see them when you're out in the boats. But starting from May 1st, they actually come onto our beaches to nest, which is super cool. You're probably not going to see them actually do that because they do it late in the evening and into the night, but you can tell where they've been because you can actually see their tracks in the sand going up to different nesting holes. So predominantly we have loggerhead sea turtles.
Okay.
Most of the time that's what you're going to see, but we also occasionally have Kemp's Ridley turtles, leatherback turtles, which are really, really cool, and also green sea turtles. So those are the 4 species that are possible on our beaches, though, like I said, the loggerhead is the dominant one. So like I mentioned, nesting season started May 1st. So if anyone loves baby turtles, and I can't imagine you don't, it's an exciting time to actually be on the beach. So as part of Okaloosa Island and Destin, we clean the beaches so that we remove trash and litter and other things like that. But before our beach cleaners actually hit the sand, we have a turtle monitor go out and sweep the whole beach looking for nests. And his name is George Gray, and he's great. He's been doing it for probably 20 plus years, which is exciting. And what he does is he actually looks for those tracks that I was just telling you about. And he will mark the nest with stakes and tape so that everyone is aware that there's a sea turtle nest there. So people don't put their flags on them and they don't sit on them. It really protects that sort of square space from any harm that might come to the eggs.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that we do. And then later in the season, when they start hatching, because turtle season runs from about May to October, he and his volunteers will watch the nests and wait for them to hatch. And then, he can say whether they're going towards the light or they're going towards the ocean and the Gulf, sorry about that. And he takes a lot of data, and that's really great too. And if anyone wants to learn more about this program, he does 2 nighttime educational beach walks on Mondays and Wednesdays, and he talks all about the things that they do as part of their monitoring program and talks in depth about the different species. And you can find all that information on emeraldcoasting.com.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Ecotourism is becoming more and more popular, and so people do, I think, generally care about the turtles and want to learn more about them. So what kind of other projects are you working on, Erika?
So ecotourism is one of the favorite things that I do at my job because I am the prototypical ecotourist. Those are the vacations that I like to take. So one of the first things I did when I started my job last July is I created an inventory of the coolest natural places in Okaloosa County. The obvious ones like Henderson Beach State Park and Rocky Bayou State Park, but also some of the smaller ones that you might not necessarily have heard of, like the Maddie Kelly Nature Walk in Destin or Veterans Park, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. And so I created a guide with directions and things that you might see, and that's all now up on our website too. So you can check it out and maybe explore some things that you haven't seen before.
Very good.
And I also created one just for people who like to go bird watching too. So that's there too.
Right, we have that wonderful rookery, which, we'll talk about that when we get to Veterans Park. But paddle boarding, what are some of those eco-tourist activities? Obviously kayaking, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And paddle boarding is a huge one because we are sort of at the epicenter of paddleboard construction, which is really cool. And one of the best places to go paddleboarding is the Gulf Islands National Seashore, which is on the bay side, which is often calmer than the Gulf waters. So one of the things we're doing is just upping our communication of these different things, using social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to really talk about all these resources that we have. We participate in Visit Florida Twitter chats and all kinds of things to get the word out about all the amazing things that we have here. So
Wonderful, and I'm sure you can rent a board at several locations.
So
and just,
many.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
just go out and enjoy it. And Turkey Creek is another area that you were that you had on that list, I believe, Erika.
Yeah, Turkey Creek is really unique because you can actually walk on a raised boardwalk up and down the creek and stop at different swimming locations. So again, it's taking resources that we already have and making sure that everybody knows about them.
Right, right. In Turkey Creek, once you get in there, you don't hear anything but nature, and it's just amazing because it's right there, close to Highway 20. But when you get back in there, you don't hear anything but birds and critters and
People
and
enjoying
yourself
swimming.
breathing.
Yep, exactly.
And the swimming and activities there. So, all right, well, let's talk about Veterans Park. What's our update?
Perfect. So for those of you who might not know, Veterans Park is a county-owned park that's right next to the convention center on Okaloosa Island. And it is one of the most biodiverse spots in our county when looking at bird life. So the most obvious thing that you're going to see when you first go in there is, like you were saying before, the heron rookery. These giant great blue herons have dozens of nests high up in the pine trees, and you can actually see the baby herons as they sort of fledge and live out their life cycle. We also have nesting ospreys on the property, and last summer we had nesting great horned owls. So if you're a casual bird watcher, if you want to get into it, if you're an expert, this is somewhere you have to visit. During migration season, which is in the spring and in the fall, there are literally hundreds of species in this park, so it's very, very exciting. However, the park has some problems. The shoreline is eroding. We also have a lot of invasive species on the property, so we have a whole slew of improvements coming down the pike that are going to be really fun. So the first one is a Living Shorelines project. So that includes revegetating the dunes, doing an oyster breakwater, trying to get some of the seagrass to come back, and that will stop the erosion problem, and it will just look really, really nice.
Yeah.
And it'd be great for anglers and things like that. And though there's a current boardwalk, we would like to replace the boardwalk with one that's ADA accessible, because there is going to be a veterans monument or memorial type thing, and we want to make sure that everybody can come and enjoy it.
Sure. Very good, very good. Well, yeah, it's beautiful out there. I mean, truly, and really the idea is that you leave it mostly natural and just, make it accessible for everybody to enjoy.
And we hope it will serve as also an educational focal point, showing people what a living shorelines looks like, showing people what it can look like when you take out invasive species and put in native vegetation species. So it's going to be a fun area.
Okay, what are some of those invasive species?
So the ponds, the freshwater ponds on the property,
Uh-huh.
it used to be a 3-hole golf course, is alligator weed, and you can see it encroaching on the sort of open surface water. And so we would take that out. There's also something called popcorn trees, and it's hard to take them out, and they'll grow and grow and grow. And we also have some fern species in the forested part that need to be ripped out. But we're working very closely with the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance, who are restoration pros.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to work together to do those types of projects.
Well, that is very, very good news. Well, let's talk about Emerald Coast Gulf to Table initiative.
Yes, this is so much fun. So the idea of Gulf to Table is we have so many resources in the Gulf of Mexico. You can catch sort of inshore species like, redfish or trout or flounder, and then you can also catch the way offshore species like amberjack and triggerfish and red snapper, etc. So we have so many great restaurants and so many fish species that we wanted to combine them. And so the Gulf to Table initiative is you or a local fisherman brings his catch straight to the docks, and that goes straight to the restaurant owners. And so you can either order it, or if you catch it yourself, a lot of restaurants will cook it for you, whatever way you like.
Wonderful.
So I actually did it with a group of travel writers who came in March, and we went off with Captain Jarvis. We caught a bunch of amberjack, which, if you don't know, are also called reef donkeys because they pull like crazy. I've never had my arms hurt so much after a fishing trip. And we took the amberjack and we took the triggerfish and we went straight to Brotula's. The chef cooked it up right there for our lunch in a bunch of different ways, and you can absolutely tell the difference.
Oh, it doesn't get any fresher than that. I've never done that. That sounds like fun.
Well, you got to do it. There's nothing
yeah.
like it. And
That
to know
sounds
that
great.
you caught that on your line.
Right.
You know, and some of the cool things, if you don't catch your own fish, are you can ask for a QR card that tells you who caught it and when. And so it's a way to track where your fish are coming from and who caught it, so that you know you're being as sustainable as possible.
All right. Well, we got about a few seconds left, maybe about 40, 50 seconds left, almost a minute.
Okay.
Erika, what else you want to add?
I just want to add that one of the other projects that we do are beach restoration. We just did one a few years ago, and it's a way to restore natural resources for tourists, enhance the resources, but also provide amenities for locals. And that sort of encompasses our whole program, you know, making it so the tourists want to stay and come, but also providing things for people who live here year-round.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today, and some really helpful information and
Great.
and updates on the park and things like that. So that's great, Erika.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, we will move on to our public information update. Airports, which was featured in the last show, but they have so much going on, and I just have to mention that they have a 9/11 International Memorial flag that can be seen at the airport in the ticketing area. Excuse me. It's comprised of 3,000 small flags that were sewn together for the victims of 9/11. And it has traveled around the world. About 6 million people have seen this flag, and it is to remind everyone to never forget about September 11th. So go by and see the flag. It's 32 feet by 22. You can't miss it. And parking will be free at the airport. If you go see it as you leave, just let them know that you were there to view the flag. And of course, you can still see the F-16 and the USS Okaloosa ship bell there, and several other things at the airport while you're there. Also, they have several new discount flights from Allegiant, Glow Airlines, and Contour going to cities and states like Cincinnati, Little Rock, Arkansas, New Orleans, Kentucky, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., St. Louis, Oklahoma, Fort Lauderdale. So visit flyvps.com, and you can come and experience some of these things that Erika was just talking about. Also, are you ready, Okaloosa? Hurricane season does begin. I guess we got to talk about it on June 1st. And so it's time for everyone to renew your family or your business plan in case of an emergency. If you need some help, you can download the free Okaloosa County app, and also visit our website at okaloosafl.com. And you can call public safety anytime. We want you to be safe this season. And I want to thank Cox for the Okaloosa Today show. Thanks to all of our guests, and to the cities of Destin and Fort Walton Beach for their participation. And thank you for joining us. We will see you next month.